I met this guy in January and he became my boyfriend in February. Comes March, the world goes down the drain and we decided to move in together for the time of the pandemic. A few weeks ago, he shows me a post where this guy is challenged to an arm wrestling competition by his GF. The guy didn't seem to have any sort of training / workout, whereas his girlfriend did. I commented he might have a surprise. My boyfriend started educating me on biology and how men are stronger than women. I told him there were way too many factors to take into consideration to make such a broad comment. I have been doing weightlifting for 2 years and my boyfriend has never seen a gym in his life, so I used us as an example. That was a big mistake. He got really defensive and condescending, and made comments like, "That's cute." I just let it go. Fast forward to yesterday. He's playing some game with his friend, online, and I can clearly hear him talk about me. Well, curiosity killed the cat. At first it's all pretty and my ego is bursting, but then he says I'm delusional because I think I'm stronger than him. Pause. Seriously? I know I'm weak, but not weaker than a girl. So later, I decide to call him on his BS. I asked him if he wanted to come work out with me the next day, this morning, so he can show me how strong he is. He accepted and I was happy because I had been dying to bring him and initiate him to something I'm passionate about. So, this morning, we went to my friend's garage. My region allows groups of 10 or less and we wipe everything. I told him we're gonna do deadlifts. It's my favorite exercise and I was already planning to test my personal best, so it was perfect. My friend was there cause he corrects my form and it's been our Sunday ritual since COVID-19. We started light and slowly worked our way up, doing the same number of reps as the other. Comes 185, his form starts to crumble, so we made him go lighter. But 185 really isn't that much for me, so I kept stacking the plates. He looked very supportive and impressed the whole time. I ended up beating my personal best at 265. I was ecstatic and so were they. When we got in the car, he was very silent. I assumed he was just tired. We got home and that's when he exploded and asked me if I was proud of myself. Apparently, I humiliated him in front of my friend. I apologized. I didn't realize he was feeling that way. He got angry and said it really changed the way he saw me, like I'm less of a woman now. He stormed to the basement. I started collecting my things. But now I'm wondering if I should have been reading between the lines and stopped at 190 or something. Or just dropped it and never suggested we work out together. I knew very well I was stronger than him, but I just had to prove it to him. I've always cleaned as I cook so that when it gets to the end of the meal, there's minimal mess. My husband is the opposite. When he cooks, it's like a bomb went off. I've encouraged him to clean as he cooks. And if we're doing a big meal / holiday meal together, I often make sure to assign him that role. Like most people, one of us cooks, the other one cleans up. I am the better cook, so I cook like 80% of the time. He gets an easy cleanup. I'm busier than usual at work, so he's had to step up. Whenever he's done, the kitchen is a mess. I don't even get how it happens. There will be oil splatters untouched, stuff drying to dishes, peels and meat. I'm not about to let food sit out overnight, so after I'm done eating I'll start the process and won't get to really relax much. Last week I asked if he could please try cleaning as he cooks. He told me the rule is one person cooks, the other person cleans. I said I get that, but you're leaving me with a huge mess every night. He said I just don't have the time to clean up when I'm focused on cooking, knowing full well I'll see him scrolling on his phone. I just got so fed up, so on Sunday I made a big pot of chili. I didn't clean up as I worked. When I was done, I served him, sat down, enjoyed a beer and dinner. When he finally went into the kitchen, he said, "What the? Why is there such a mess?" I said that I was too busy paying attention to the chili to clean up. I started to get ready for bed. He was like, "You're just going to leave this here?" And I said yes. He said he would have to wake up extra early to clean up and that he had to be at work earlier than usual, and was supposed to play a game with his friends later that night, so could I just clean up? I said no, I cooked, so he has to clean. 2 days later he's still pissy with me because he ended up not being able game and told me that he didn't get enough sleep, and was exhausted at work. Not to be too snarky, but it's not like he's a surgeon, because I had to prove a point to him. I told him that nothing else seemed to get his attention, and I feel pretty justified. He told me I was being a smug asshole about it and it was childish. We don't have a dishwasher, there's no room for one, so everything has to be done by hand. Additionally, doing the dishes means cleaning up the counters and stovetop and sweeping the floor, taking out the trash if need be. When I make chili, it's a process starting // dried chilies that I toast, soak, seed, pulverize, etc. Then there's cooking the dried beans, then there's the onions and garlic and the peels, any other veggies, seeding tomato, cans of tomato, grinding the spices, etc. Then there's grating cheese for the top, etc. It definitely left a ton of dishes and other stuff behind. So another thing that comes up is whoever cooks also cleans, but since I cook most of the time, I just don't see that as being also fair to me. I'll end up spending almost every single day after work. I've been ending work at 6 or 7 some days lately, cooking and cleaning. If I had him cook more, I would definitely start to gain weight, and then we'd have another issue altogether. I own a small condo in Orlando. I bought it while working for the Mouse, and my friend Ben lived there with me. Ben's a cook and is rarely home. He has a large room that is accessible from outside and attached bathroom that locks to the rest of the house. Well, I got a different job, got engaged to my partner, and moved a few hours away. We kept the condo as a place to stay when we visit the parks. And we agreed with Ben that he could continue living there as long as he paid all the utilities and maintained the place. Our friends use it too, they pay a bit for utilities, are told don't bother Ben, and clean before they leave. Between everyone who uses it, we've gotten stuff donated, so it's now a fully stocked vacation home. My immediate family and I have a bad history, but we mended. They've used the condo 3//4x a year. On Monday, Ben got woken up at 2 a.m. by hammering on the main door. My aunt and uncle, their kids, and their grandkids were all there waiting to be let in. I haven't spoken to these people in years after they decided I was the devil's spawn for being gay. They demanded that the caretaker give them the keys. Ben called me. I told him to give them my number, then shut and lock the door and not let them in. My aunt was insistent that my condo was actually owned by my family. It was the family vacation home, and it was against the law to not let them in. I told her no, it was mine, I own it and I let friends and family use it, but I choose who stays there. There was a lot of back and forth and some petty name calling. She said they were here for a week, where were they supposed to go, and I said I don't care. Meanwhile, my partner reported that Ben texted them saying my uncle was attempting to kick in the door. I said tell him to call the police. She hung up on me and Ben said they left. In the morning, I got a phone call from my mom trying to convince me to let them stay. We had an argument during which she admitted that she didn't tell people that I owned the property, because she didn't want the rest of our family to know they were in contact with me again. I told her if that's how she wants our relationship to be, then she's no longer welcome. I checked in with Ben and he's okay. Today my aunt sent several texts asking to stay at the house because they hadn't accounted having to pay for a hotel, and they had planned to just buy groceries and use the kitchen. I told her no. She said they were about to be out on the street with their luggage. She called me cruel and heartless and that I was ruining Disney for the kids. That made me hesitate, probably because I worked for the Mouse. I know that particular family line has very little money, yet I find it hard to believe someone would plan a whole vacation without accounting extra funds for it. But the kids are really young. I'm so furious over the homophobia that it feels like a point of pride to deny them access. My partner and I want to be married, but we don't care much for the idea of having a wedding. We wanted to elope, but my mom has been telling me since I was 16, and had never even had a boyfriend, that she wanted to see me get married and she would basically never forgive me if I eloped. I do like the idea of my family being there to celebrate with us, but I hate the idea of spending money we don't have on this huge party just so that our relationship can change in nothing but name and legal benefits. And for various reasons, it doesn't make sense for us to wait until we can afford a wedding to get married. We wanted to keep it small, preferably under $3,000, which is honestly more than I'd like to spend. But we have to be realistic. We had planned on having it in my in-laws' backyard, but even that was more money and effort than I was willing to put forth. I was stressed and feeling like I was out of options, so one day, I vented to my mom. She seemed really excited about the idea of helping me plan a wedding. It was kind of a red flag when she said, "My mom didn't help me plan my wedding. Let me live vicariously through you." But still, I agreed. She seemed really excited to help me find a venue. I was not excited, because I have not been excited about one single step in the wedding process, and I just want it to be over. About a week later, I found out that this really great park in our city that my partner loves does weddings for an extremely small fee. I emailed the event coordinator and found out that the date we want is available. I told my mom, and her reaction was, "So I guess you don't need my help finding a place, then?" And every time I talk about it, she says the same thing. She has always talked about how shitty it is to guilt trip someone, but I feel like that's exactly what she's trying to do. I honestly can't tell whether or not I've done something wrong. Like, I'm not sure if I implied that I would only get married in a place she helped me find. I don't feel like trying to take action on my own wedding is that great of an offense, but I can tell she's upset. I want to make her feel better, but at the same time, I don't want to change our plans again just so that she can feel involved.